Y continuamos aquí en la Legal Tech Summit, en este caso en la Unique Studio, para seguir con los distintos paneles, las distintas charlas sobre distintos temas relacionados a lo tecnológico, legal, financiero. En este caso vamos a adelantarles que va a ser una conversación en inglés sobre la Fintech. Precisamente este panel se denomina Legal Development in Fintech. Va a estar moderado y va a estar hablando en estos momentos Gauci. Él es socio fundador de GTG Advocate Afflection and Calido. Además, también asesora al gobierno, a la industria. Estamos hablando que él es de Malta, está muy relacionado con los temas tecnológicos, del tema del blockchain, entre otras tecnologías relacionadas a los activos virtuales. Así que sin más, vamos a presentar a Ian. Ian, welcome. My name is Bruno Barreto. Go ahead, please.
Hi, thank you, Bruno. Hi, thanks for having me. So, this brief presentation, we're going to discuss a little bit on fintech. So let's start with what do we mean by fintech? Fintech as such is a word which is used a lot in the financial services field. We know it has a lot of potential, but we're seeing it used in a lot of areas and sectors practically without any relevant context sometimes as well. So in this brief presentation, I will first demystify the term fintech. And then we see exactly what existing laws applies and what the developments in the sector are going to be. So we can move on to the next slide, please. No, the one before. The other one? Second slide. That's the first one, there's another one. Second one? Okay, let me move to the second slide, no problem. So what is fintech? Because I can't see properly, sorry. So what is fintech? Is it a new financial service? Is it cryptocurrency? Is it software? Well, to a certain extent, it can encompass all these things, because fintech is the term encompassing a wide range of technological innovations, which are predominantly used. That is why the fin part in financial services. So from this angle, even though it has, to a certain extent, not been defined in any legislation per se, fintech can be viewed as an enabler. It's a technology, using technology to generate efficiency, in this case, in the financial services sector. Now, what kind of participation or participating entities would we have thus, given this definition? According to a McKinsey report, here we can have new entrants, startups and attackers as students, incumbent financial services operators, so banks, credit institutions, legacy operators. Well, the novelty here is as well, and we all know, we've seen as well, have companies like Facebook, like Amazon, like Apple, venturing into the financial services field, riding as well on technological innovation. And we have as well fintech infrastructure providers, which provide SaaS and PaaS services to financial institutions. So these are the players in this new fintech ecosystem. The other slide, please. So fintech is something which is not directly related to a service per se. And there's also another misnomer. Fintech is not something which is related to the 20th century. It's something which has been there with us literally from when we started developing technology, trading and bartering. So if this is quite interesting, if we look back at a novel which Edward Bellamy wrote in 1888, so quite a long time ago. And the novel is looking backwards. It's looking backward to 2000. You have an individual who fell asleep, then he woke up, and he woke up in the year 20,000. So this individual, Junior West, went in America. When he woke up, he saw the world in the eyes of the author drastically changed, where there was no cash, and there were cash links, okay? So there was already a surrogate of electronic money. So the author way back in the 18th century was already envisaging technological innovation in the financial services sphere. So, and let's face it, I mean, the incentive to use latest technology in financial services has always been there. From when we use scales to weigh gold pieces, we use telecommunications as well to carry orders. From where Rothschild used as well, this is technology as well, pitches to create the telegraph, or from where we use digital technology. Even when you use digital technology to improve payment services. If you take a look at the slide over there, you can see that there's a stretch dating back from time immemorial where technology of wisest turn was adopted in the financial services industry. Now, lately, we've seen, and here was the predominant, 1960 to 1980, we saw the emergence then of digital technology, and here there was a very fast uptake by financial institutions, and we had as well a drastic paradigm shift. For example, the core banking system, payments with the inception of MasterCard, SWIFT, and also innovative automated services within the financial services part. That's why fintech became so, to a certain extent, more prominent. So we have more ATMs, more robo-advisors. We have now more IoT being introduced, Internet of Things in the banking industry. So all this is transforming to digitalization and automation and fintech, because fintech is the enabler of the financial services industry. Next slide, please. So I mentioned a little bit some technologies which are affecting the fintech field. We have seen several unicorns and startups leveraging on the technology and the fintech paradigm, okay, to adopt AI, IoT, cloud, DLT, even the convergence of all these vectors to enhance innovative services in the financial services industry. So to push fintech. So this led to innovative business models. We have more digital assets, whether they are securities, crypto, NFTs, all forms of tokens, alternative credit scoring, alternative insurance underwriting, transaction delivery, small ticket loans as well, payment gateway, custody through digital wallets, irrespective of the nomenclature of the digital assets. And this links me as well to asset management. So here we're seeing that the technological driver, fintech, is to a certain extent introducing as well new shapes and new forms of financial services. Aside from the services part, fintech, I believe we all agree, is also an enabler for RegTech, SupTech, and ComTech. So regulatory technology within the financial services. industry. And this will affect as well in turn the operators who might have obligations to apply these RegTech, SupTech, and CompTech technological components. Okay? And these are being tested as well in various countries in sandboxes. Next slide, please. It's a pity that I only have 20 minutes because I will literally touch briefly on developments solely within the EU. But there are other developments within the globe happening on the fintech front. So let's start with the premise that as much as fintech was always there with us from time immemorial, a lot of what is called fintech today is to a certain extent either totally, directly, or indirectly in a partial manner already catered and covered with the existing legislative regime. However, there were reports, we are all in the industry, and everybody perceives there are overlaps, lacunas, and in certain instances, legislation which is not up to date and up to scope to cater for this new technological innovation. As a matter of fact, particularly in Europe, the European expert group in a report identified 4 areas where there is need to intervene. So there were risks, particularly with AI and DLT. So specifically on the technology, which were not perceived before in the previous legislation, what we have today. There is need as well to remove any possible fragmentation within the EU, because the EU is a single European market. There is a need as well to reconcile data protection with any fintech offering. And lately we have seen as well that this applies as well to cyber security. Okay? And there is also a consideration to make sure that any fintech offering, which is a financial services regulated product, from the perspective of financial inclusion, it covers those elements adequately, and there is ethical use of data. So to a certain extent, the existing landscape, we have the e-money directive dealing with e-money, which is cash surrogate. We have MiFID II, which increased the importance on compliance and was actually pivoted for new key players in the financial services sector, was a catalyst in this area. We have EMIR, which is the European Market Infrastructure Regulation, which deals with derivative markets, and likewise it means to mitigate risks. We have GDPR as well, data protection, which is very important. I will not touch on the data protection elements because this will take me another 7 minutes. But there are certain data protection elements, like for example, data protection by design, data breach notifications, even passportability of data, which are finding their way directly, even in legislation, dealing with financial services. Now, we have as well the payment services. To remove the middleman, that's why we have Apple, Amazon as well prospering in this field thanks to the Payments Directive, Cybersecurity Act, Prospectus Regulation, Consumer Law as well, PML5, and transfer of funds, etc., etc. However, this is a picture of what we have today. So financial services coupled with fintech is meant to be transformed. It's already actually being transformed through digitalization. So currently we are experiencing new proposals, new regulations, which embrace digitalization, which to a certain extent cater for this future-oriented paradigm. The EU is currently working on this model. I've been touching briefly on them soon, so that even that's more free flow of data, better economies of scale, no fragmentation, better consumer protection, particularly when there is software and automation, more concern on investor protection, particularly with regard to technological innovation. Okay, and to a certain extent, mimicking as well. So here we're speaking about the financial services industry. What is happening in education, tech? What is happening in the medicine industry, medtech? What is happening as well? Okay, in information society, particularly with the EU, where we have Digital Services Act, Digital Marketing Act, which are being promulgated specifically to cater for the new dimension which technology is giving to this sector. Speaking about this sector, so let's move on to slide number 6. Slide 6, in the next slide, please, because I can't see it. Perfect. Sector development. So let's start. I've already covered this in previous instances on the video on MiCA. So what is interesting is the European Union has introduced a financial package. In this financial package, one of the legislation is going to be MiCA. It is a regulation which will, to a certain extent, cover cryptocurrency and include cryptocurrencies under the financial services package. Quite unique. I think it's one of the first worldwide. Along with MiCA, there is also another regulation, which is DORA, and it's on operational resiliency, where to literally hold on it briefly, DORA will touch on all financial services, practically the 22-23, if I'm not mistaken, sectors, including cryptocurrency, which is covered by MiCA, and it will impose requirements on information and communication technology risk management, reporting ICT incidents. I mentioned it before, the data protection issue as well there. Reporting operational security issues, digital operational resilience testing, to a certain extent, even covering, in certain instances, facility providers, service facility providers, providing critical services to the financial services industry. Something quite innovative as well. So even this is a regulation which is meant to cover for this digital innovation. We have as well, there were 2 projects. There was the DLT pilot, and there was a proposal as well to make sure that any trading venue tests as well any algorithm which they use, to an algorithm which they use. This is still a proposal. However, it goes back to the DLT pilot. The DLT pilot is already a law. It will be applicable very soon. And it affords a European-wide sandbox. So all member states participate in this sandbox, so that any multilateral trading facilities and security settlement providers systems using DLT, this is specific for DLT, can avail themselves of a testing environment and exemptions from the existing legislative regime. So even here, we're seeing the importance of innovative technology, of testing of this innovative technology, and also of the fact that regulators, because of fintech, because of this novelty here, need to understand what they have at hand, and they need to work hand in hand with the operators. So here we have a legislation which is letting them do that. Let's move on to the next slide, because I'm taking a lot of time. I'm sorry. So, some additional developments. Aside, hand in hand with DORA and the financial services package, there is AML, there's the new transfer of funds regulation, which caters specifically as well for cryptos. As much as AML wanted to cater for cryptos, NFTs, even DeFi was mentioned in the AML direction and FATF. So transfer of funds regulation is for as well for the crypto scenario, for the crypto environment. Specifically on crypto as well, we have the OECD, which is working on what we call a CARD, Crypto Asset Reporting Framework. And this is going to be worldwide. It doesn't apply only to the EU. We have as well the AI Act, where specifically in the AI Act, so I mean it applies across the board to all industries, but specifically to financial services, when high-risk AI has been rolled out and there are compliance and conformity assessment issues, the Financial Services Authority of the respective member states will garner additional powers to check specifically this AI compliance with the AI. So checking specifically technological compliance, something quite innovative as well with this project, and being injected because of this new paradigm afforded by technology in the financial services field. I cannot much mentioning the new data, the developments about EU data strategy. So the EU has a strategy for data which will contribute to the creation, to further amalgamation, amplification actually of the European single market, particularly on IoT, Internet of Things, and the free movement of data. So alongside the strategy, legislative proposals are being dished out as well. Some we mentioned before, but there are others which are not directly sectorial developments. So they are horizontal regulations which apply in all industries. So there's the EU Data Governance Act, Data Act, Digital Services Act, and specifically on Fintech, there are two interesting proposals which one should follow. The reiteration of the Payment Services Directive, so the new Payment Services Directive, and even in the IDAS, because of digital identity and wallets. So this is the strategy of the two, and there's a lot happening. Let me go to the concluding remarks, because I have only 20 minutes. So I hope that I gave you a rundown of where we stand fintech-wise and some salient applicable legislation within this field. I think you've noticed that whereas before there was regulation regulating purely the individual, if he's covering a particular position within a financial services entity, and the entity service-wise, now we have a shift, we have a convergence, where technology is taking slowly the main stage. So this will make sure as well that there is more focus, which currently is lacking, on technology assurance. Time will tell if technology will totally replace humans in certain interactions, particularly in fintech. However, for the EU and for every country to fuel the digital economy, so if we look at digitalization, virtualization, enhancing the backbone which is driven by technology, this is the right step ahead. Technology before was to a certain extent it's a taboo to say you regulate technology or you cater for technology. Well, let's not say that the EU is regulating directly technology, but if anybody takes a look at the existing proposed regulation, we will all agree that because of fintech, because of digital innovation, digitalization, technology is one of the main focus and one of the main elements which will surely be captured by new legislation. So I thank you for this. I hope that after this presentation you have clarity at least on what's happening in the EU. I must congratulate Legal Tech Summit once again for this fantastic event. And thanks a lot for having me. Bye from Malta.
Okay, Ian, thank you very much. Bye bye. Era la presentación entonces de Ian Gauci. Nosotros vamos a hacer una breve pausa aquí en la Legal Tech Summit. Hay más contenidos para ustedes. ¿Qué pasa con la digitalización y las sociedades de derecho? Lo vemos en el próximo panel.